Right, hello Nerfers. Let's get back to this thing. I have to keep it covered because I've got a tree growing inside my shed that drops stuff everywhere. Now, right. Now I haven't done anything on this since I posted the last movie because I've been busy with a few other things. Now it's time to do the painting. Now there's a couple of things we have to consider. First, of course the normal sanding and stuff and prepping of the surface. You don't have to worry about that with 3D printer stuff. It's pretty rough as it is. I've got a few little repairs to do around the place, but definitely got to sand and do what shows off the Nerf blaster, which is about that much. So I'm just going to roughly mark what I've got to do because I'm not going to sand areas I don't need to waste time on. Okay, so that's one. Now, the next thing is, as I was putting this together, I did come across a few issues. One with the trigger thing, I had to put a nut in there to get the trigger to activate. Now, I've been thinking a lot about that, and I'm pretty sure it's because I didn't put a long enough spring in this activation. There's not enough tension pushing it back. Or I should say pulling it forward, so when you push it back, it moves back. So I'm going to look at that when I pull this apart. Now, there was a bit of plastic in here I had to repair because the bit on this inside that these screws goes into broke off. In fact, it's still in there being held on by the screws. So I'm going to see if I can plastic weld that out or glue it or something. Other than that, it's just a matter of getting the paint on it. Now, as for the paint colour, I was thinking of a few things. Lots of things to do. An urban splinter in greys and whites and blacks because I've been wanting to do that. Another splinter in Swedish Air Force colours, you know, that the Saab Viggens have. But what I thought I'd do is actually the colour scheme Rance has got himself in his image that comes with the instruction manual. So I don't think I've got a copy here, and it doesn't matter because this is in black and white, but I will put the photo here now. Boom. So I'm going to do that. Obviously, I've got a different barrel, and I'll just, you know, paint that in the gunmetal. So it's either a white gunmetal or a white light grey paint scheme, which is going to be okay because that'll dirty up really nicely. So let's get this thing in its component pieces, start getting some undercoat on it, and sanding off the usual crap. Back soon. Okay. So there's my brake there. I reckon the way that's positioned, that there could have been like a much thicker bracing piece there, a lot stronger. But anyway, I'll work something out. Okie dokie, done. So, yes, so as I pulled this thing apart, I noticed a few things, like the spring I had in there is actually quite small. And I'm pretty sure the spring he suggests is quite big. Okay, it says 0.4 times 4 times 30, which I'm assuming 30 is the length of the spring and 4 is the diameter. See, I'm not really au fait on all these sorts of things. Right, so let's see how badly I've chosen the spring. Its outer diameter is 4.72, so it's a little bit over, but it still fits. But its length is, yeah, it's only 15. It's only half the actual size it needs to be. And as I said, where'd it go? There it is. As I said once before, there's a hole in there, and there is a hole in there. And that hole there, we can work out, is, that hole's almost 6.5 centimetres, 6.5 mil deep. I would say that one's probably pretty similar. See if I can get anything in there. And I can't really measure how deep that hole is, but it looks quite deep. So that's taking 12mm off a 15mm spring. So virtually there's no tension there at all. So I've got to sort of find myself a longer spring. Okay, challenge accepted. Shouldn't be a problem. I'm a nerfer. I got springs everywhere. Right. So now the next thing is this repair. Now I've got to decide whether I want to salvage that broken bit out of there and put it back on here and plastic weld it or something. I'll put some screws through it because that will work, I think. Yeah, I think I could make that work. Or I want to remodel this whole piece, because you don't really need this. If you cut off the pistol grip, you don't need this area to hold the pistol grip, hide it up. So I could do something like take it up and then back down. And that would allow me to model that. I think that is probably too much of an issue, too much trouble for just one little thing here. So I'm going to try and repair this first. So let's get this bit out of here. I mean, just filling that with epoxy resin and sticking it on there and clamping it may just work. Maybe need to put a little screw in or two just to reinforce it. In case anybody's wondering, this is just a normal screwdriver with a door magnet on it. They're really strong, and this allows me to have a magnetic screwdriver without having to buy one, because I found the door magnet in all my junk. So I was pretty happy about that. It's interesting the way that's broken. You can see how those little inserts work. Just fill up with plastic and hold the thing in place. Right. Okay, so got that. So that into it coming from the bottom, so that just goes straight there like that. So I'm pretty confident I could super glue, araldite, whatever you want to call it, and get that to stay there. I mean, worst comes to worst, I could even put tape around there, over there, because none of this is seen. So I'm going to try and repair that bit, repair these two bits which I broke, rough handling, and find that spring, which might allow me to remove this screw from that whole trigger thing. I mean, it's quite useful because it's adjustable, so you can move it in and out to adjust your tension, you know, like adjusting your trigger. But yeah, if it doesn't need to be there, it doesn't need to be there. So let's go and try and fix some things. Right, we have some light. Good. Right, guys. Oh, get that fella out of here. Right, now, all right, so I've got this bit here broken off, as you can see. I found some, I've just been through my glue box, and I've got some epoxy araldite, which I haven't opened yet, and I don't want to, not for just this one little bit. I've got this Loctite Extreme glue, apparently glues anything to anything, it claims, and I've only got one part of my super glue. So, I've also got this adhesive epoxy bond. This is a cheap one. This cost me about $3, and it leaks while it's just sitting in the thing. So I'm not sure. I think I'll give this a shot. Don't think I've used it on this anymore. But also what I'm going to do, once it's dry, I've got these old stems from pot riveting, and I'm going to heat melt 2 through like that, crossways. So I'll cut them before I put them in, of course, so it doesn't get in the way of the pistol grip. But yeah, because I just did a huge cleanup, and I put all the broken drill bits aside that I broke, and I've got lots. Because, okay, it's a broken drill bit, you can't use it to drill a hole, but it's still high-speed steel and it's still pretty strong. So I could use them, but what I'll do is I'll try the stems first. You'll have to excuse it, that's one of my chickens asking to go away. About this time of day, it always wants to go back in the pen and lay an egg. So I'll be back in a minute. Right, well, we had a bit of luck here. The printer left so many rough surfaces on the inside of this piece that just putting a clamp on it like that, it's hooking onto one of the rough surfaces and just pressing down on that. So that's good. Now, as for these ones, one of these pieces is broken completely off, like so. So I'll wait for them to dry. I'll start sanding the body of the retaliator, and as you can see, there's just the nerf's got to go, and maybe a little bit of that. There's not going to be much to actually do. And we've got the Elite symbol down here. What I've done in the past, I've just filled this entire vacancy up with Tamia putty. I mean, you could even put a piece of paper in there, tape in there, trace it, pull it out, put it on a piece of styrene, and we'll come back to this glue in, let's have a look. We'll come back to this glue in, 24 hours, okay. Alright, so by then, this should be ready to go. So back soon. Right guys, now, in disassembling this to paint it, I thought I had an idea. Yeah, I know that's unlikely, but it actually happened. I'll have to document it. My original thing was this muzzle in here like this. And that's actually quite loose because I've actually sanded that out because it occurred to me I've got all these pieces with threaded bits and pieces on. Maybe I could use them instead of that. Now my first plan was this, and it was a good fit, but it didn't look all that crash up. Then I took this barrel that comes in a piece like that, one piece, I cut it in half just so I could fit it in there. And then this piece is a separate piece which I've jammed in there, and I can't get out now, it's really tight, but it holds the barrel really nicely. And that whole thing goes through there, in like that, and the barrel end actually clips into the blaster, which is great. But again, a little chunky. And then on the drawing, which I'll put another picture right here, his original artwork, it uses this muzzle. Now, so what my plan is this piece here, I'm going to take the actual STL drawing, put it in SketchUp, and mold it in to this face here. And then I can just screw that straight on. The only issue I have is making sure when I screw it on, it's vertical, it looks right. Now whether it's off one way or the other, I just have to leave it back half a turn and glue it or something, so be it, whatever. But that works really well. That is actually quite a loose fit, so I could probably reduce that circle by half a mil, which means you make it 1/8 of a mil shorter, because it takes 1/8 off all the edges, so it makes it half a mil shorter. Probably be a better fit. And here is the actual screen with all the parts on it. So let me just tighten this thing up. So that's my original I used. This is one of the other drawings I didn't really like it. But here's all the parts from Rance's kit. I've imported the STLs. That's the bit I'm after. So I'm going to mount that in that and print it as one piece. So when I screw that on, it's just sticking out the end of this, and I've got a nice solid mount. So that should only take, 10-15 minutes to sort out. It's time for a little bit of help. I'm just working on this ULRICE thing, and I've decided to put this muzzle on. So I need to print a new part. So a new part to fill that area. So what I did, I copied this STL and put it on a new front. Now the first time I did it, for some reason, the thread reversed on me. That's a left-hand thread tightening. So I flipped the model, and it's still a left-hand thread reversing, tightening. So in Bamboo, I actually mirrored the model, and it's still a left-hand thread reversing. Now, okay, maybe I'm missing something blatantly obvious, but can somebody tell me what the hell's going on? So I went in again, and I produced two pieces, a left-handed and a right-handed. Brought them into Bamboo, got everything set up, chose the one that was the right-handed thread, the proper thread, deleted the other one and printed it. Now there's two colours here because I used, leftover ABS, and it actually printed right this time. So that goes on, and what's even more amazing, it is vertical. It's where it should be. So I'm absolutely stunned, finally. And I'm going to put this on now, and then we can start the painting. So, printed with just leftover ABS, a couple of different colours, and nice, lovely right hand thread that holds the muzzle in the perfect place vertically. So there we go. We'll have a look at these two which we glued yesterday, and it is yesterday, no magic this time. So how'd that go? Well, that is pretty tight, that's good. So this one should be pretty tight. Yep, that's good. So that means this one should be pretty tight. Yep, that's good. I am still going to do my trick with the what do you call them? Pot rivet stems. Simply because I want to make sure this is nice and strong. A bit warm but not hot. But it's not moving, which is good. Okay, it's only just got a little bit of orange at the tip, but I reckon that's enough. Let go and push it through with the rest. If we hold this one above it, it's probably just in there, so we will do this one now. Go on a bit of a straighter angle. Get it a little touch hotter this time. Straight through. Goodness, that glue is a good barrier. Okay, so I'm just going to wet this down to cool that metal off. There's a lot of, you know, melted plastic and stuff, but this is going to be inside the housing. So where's it going to sit? It's going to sit in there, so it's not going to be seen. It's not getting in the way. Seems good. Okay, now the next thing is what I pointed out a while ago, maybe in the first movie or the second movie, I'm not sure. These retracting magazine catches, they just need a bit cut off them. Where is it? Where are they? There we go. The actuator still can push on that. So there we go, all done, ready for paint. So I guess I need to go and get some paint. Back soon. Right, hi guys, back for painting time now. As you can hear, it's summer here because it's raining. So, got all the parts laid out. The repairs I've done seem to work. That glue seems to work really well. So the addition of the two pot rivet stems just strengthens a little bit more. I mean, this snapped completely off and it's rock solid now, just with a little bit of that glue. I'll put a photo of the tube in the image. Now I see I'm missing one of them, so I've got to find one of them somewhere, probably over on the other table. I've sanded off all the Nerf logos, and despite how rough that looks, it's actually quite smooth. I even sanded off the stuff in there, so I don't even have to worry about covering that. So that's ready to go. All I have to do now for this part alone is just rub it with one of those green plastic scourers, because they scratch the surface enough to paint it up. I'll probably dismantle it anyway, this piece, to make it easier to paint, and get some black on the inside so all the internals are hidden. I don't think they're actually seen when the gun's being used, so that's good. Right, we're ready for paint. And I just remembered the only area I really had to sand on this was where the white line is on both sides, and I didn't need to take that out because it's hidden. God, I'm an idiot. Oh well, anyway, so let's get on with the painting. Now here's my little painting table. It's just positioned close to the door, so I've got a lot of airflow. I've actually got my old extractor fan from the kitchen I'm planning to put all of this in a cupboard, put that on top, and have doors I can close just to hide all the mess. So I've got my white primer and my grey primer, and those over there. Now I've just got to go and search for a little image, so I'll be back in a minute. Okie dokie, now, just had a quick look at the image. So these are the bits that are going to be white. These two bits I'm going to undercoat with the white undercoat because they're actually orange in the image, and I'm going to keep to the pattern, to keep to the image. So they're going to be orange, all the rest is white. Now, whether I do my whole wear, tear, undercoat, rust thing, I don't know at this stage. But I'm just going to put some white primer on these to start with and take it from there. Okie dokie. Okay, first thing. It looks really rough and thin, but it's called a mist coat. Goes on just to put a bit of paint on there to get the rest to stick better. Gives it a better surface, apparently. Right, guys, back again. Now, I started the painting a couple of days ago. I went to my local hardware store and did what I usually do, which is I buy this stuff. It's called Boston brand spray paint. The only information on the back about where it's from, it says actually Western Australia. Made by a company over here in Kewdale, apparently, unless they're just a shipping agent. But anyway, I've been using this stuff for years, simply because it's reasonably good quality paint, covers really well, and my local hardware store, I can get 5 cans for $28 when they sell them at $10 individually. So it's like 2 free cans, which is brilliant. Now, as I said, I've been using it for ages and it's good, no problem. The white primer I got here and the matte white are very thin. I don't know why, maybe not enough of whatever, I think it's a titanium powder they put in the paint to get the white colour. This is an old can. This is dated 11/10/23. These new ones is 16/5/24. Okay, so this is last year, this is just recently. Now, the best way I can show this is with a demo. This is the same plastic the rest of the blaster's done. I'll just do the white primer first. They've all been shaken up for a full minute, and all I'm going to do is a single spray at a fixed distance, like this. So touch it against there. Oops, missed. Okay. See how thin that is? And that's the white primer. And I've used the white primer before and it's never been that thin. Here's the matte white. That's the new matte white I bought yesterday. Here's the old matte white. So as you can see, that's quite a difference in quality. The white primer and the matte white are just lacking pigment, really. I'm actually going to go and contact these people and tell them about their problem so they can fix it. But other than that, the Boston spray paint's great. I mean, I also bought a grey, which I used on the grey parts, and that coverage is good. Even this bit here, this is the top rear cover. I originally painted white. I made a mistake, so I'm actually going over with the grey. So I gave it a bit of a mist spray last night, and it covered really well. And here's the rest. I mean, that's perfect. That's how it should work. And that is done. So Boston spray paints in general work really, really well. Okay, hi guys, Andy Work here. Don't worry, you won't have to look at my face too much. This photo that I'm putting up on the screen now was taken 12 hours after that paint test, and you can see that the new white undercoat and the new matte white have actually faded away while the old stuff has stayed constant. So I sent that video off to Boston Paints or their supplier, whatever, and they got back to me straight away and said, yep, looks like a problem, blah, blah, blah. We'll swap the paints, which is great. I'm not worried about that. It's only a few bucks. But I then sent this photo, and hopefully it helped because the guy I'm talking to got back to me straight away and said, yeah, that's a major problem. And So I'm going to, next time I'm passing, I'll stop in and get some paints, and that's fine and dandy. But don't be afraid to, tell people these things, because you're helping them. I want Boston Paints to hang around and keep producing paints because I like their stuff. It works well and it's cheap. All right. So one other thing, I'm going to chuck in a photo here of the blaster put back together so you can see where I'm at. Obviously, the paint's a bit rough. And I'll see you next time. I'm going to end this video here because it's getting a bit long and I've got plenty of footage for the next one. So talk to you again soon. Bye now.